How you doing, YouTube? Stash coming back at you with another Stash YouTube. I want to bring up a very controversial topic as being Stash. Stash, the Polish American, is asking if it's a good idea that Poland has, or is, or might have already gone ahead with purchasing Patriot missile defense system for 10.5 billion, which I believe comes out to about 37 billion zlotys. I don't know if they have the cash. If it's, I would say it'd be better spent on growing food, real, natural, organic food, than spending this kind of money on a missile defense system that actually the effectiveness is in great doubt. The Russia's too close anyway, and any kind of major problem would probably result in just Poland getting completely annihilated by nuclear weapons. No doubt, I've got a lot of respect for the Polish military. Incredible courage, good reputation. The GROM may be certainly one of the best special forces organization in the world, but you got to look at your size and how close you are to Russia, despite the fact that there's U.S. troops garrisoned in Poland, which also might not be a good idea because you're getting into issues of sovereignty. Diplomacy might be the way to go, and you don't want to get into a fight with a country as big as Russia. And I know, a lot of Poles, they're not afraid or anything like that, but I mean, look at the metaphor of Thomas Ademic versus one of the Klitschko brothers. Ademic, arguably one of the best boxers in the world today, but Klitschko was too big for the guy. I think he was a light heavyweight and he moved up. It was, and he went 10 rounds. I mean, and look at what happened to him. So, nothing against his skill, nothing against his courage, but you have to be realistic. This is the same kind of thing. Now, I direct your attention to a online article in, let me see if I get the notes here. Excuse me. foreignpolicy.com by Mr. Jeffrey Lewis. I know there's an issue on YouTube when you quote things that you can get into hot water or whatever, but so that's why I'm just directing you to that, and I'll put the link to the article in the comments field below. But he's referencing on how it faced real combat in Riyadh, when some Houthi fighters launched some missiles at them. It was seen as, they were saying, well, it was, they deflected and whatever. Apparently that just wasn't true. I mean, I think one did literally a U-turn and came back and hit Riyadh, or any case. Again, I know you can get in hot water quoting these things, so that's why I just direct you to that link. So Mr. Lewis's article is not taken, if I don't, excuse me, myself being in risk of quoting the gentleman incorrectly. But he talks about it being a lemon, and it's too close, and there's not enough time to react, and diplomacy to me is the only way to go. How good has the EU been for Poland? I don't know. I mean, Poland is, has been for a while kind of cheered on by ordinary Europeans as being kind of a champion of border security. Some would call them, this bad, and they're nativist and accused of all kinds of things. And they were basically just celebrating Polish Independence Day. Maybe there was some bad apples in there that are like, accusations of fascist or something like that, or white supremacist, which is, way beside the point. The majority of the people were celebrating Polish Independence Day, but it was impressive. But it got a lot of Trump supporters who are pro border security, pro build a wall, of course, cheering, pulling on. And security across Europe's an issue that's not talked about. ISIS and problems with migration that come with that are huge and kind of swept out on the rug by the media. And also, I noticed they don't really talk about how, the Middle East is being bombed, and then the people are fleeing over there. They're just kind of saying, it's just kind of implied, nativism and anti, immigration only, and not other issues like security and real things. And hats off to the Poles for sticking to that. They've gained a lot of admiration for that. However, on the missile defense system, that's a different kind of thing. I think, for one thing, I haven't heard anybody in Polonia, Polish diaspora, talking about it, that much. In other words, assisting our brothers back home in Poland, brothers and sisters back home in Poland with, things like this. So sorry to ramble on about this, but I think it's preposterous, it's just a provocation to Russia. I would also argue that there was a deal between Reagan and Gorbachev, that NATO wouldn't expand, and NATO's expanding, and, Poland is a excellent ally of the United States, and this, and remember my previous YouTube talking about the lack of recognition of Polish war heroes, both fighting for Poland and actual Polish American guys like Matt Urban and Francis Gabretsky. In particular, Matt Urban is completely ignored. I'm going to continue to talk about that. And again, sorry for the quality on these YouTubes, but I don't care. I think it's just important to put out these questions. I'm not seeing that much of them. There's some great Polish YouTube channels. There's a guy that's got one, Polish Greatness and things like that, talking about Poland, but I don't know. I haven't seen much backlash or questioning this huge expense, huge risk. Poland and Romania are slated to put in missile defense systems, or is it just, let me know, do you just see this is it? I mean, Poland, you'd think the U.S. troops got to be stationed there, and you're saying that everything's going to go well, that it won't be like World War II, when treaties were not really honored by Great Britain and the Allies. France and, tactically France and Great Britain, it's been said before, they could have hit Germany early on, assisted Poland, but it didn't go that way. So, war is unpredictable, and, would NATO really want to get involved in it? Ask, if you're Polish, get back to me on this. Ask your neighbors in Europe if you, I think there's actually polls that say that, the Italians and the French, how many, what assistance would they really provide if a real combat came? I'll say that the Russian military now has a reputation of being superb, one of the best, very large, and the United States military probably the best in the world, but we faced them in the Korean War when it was on the line, and they were difficult to fight. Just look up the honchos, for instance. The Russian pilots were very good in the Korean War. In fact, Francis Gabretsky, I think he's one of the few or of any that went to also not only fought in World War II, but also in the Korean War, and he was an ace over there as well. That's a testament to how good the Russian pilots were, though, because they had to call up these very experienced World War II guys like Gabretsky to face them. So I'll put a note in there about that too. And that's, a war should be avoided at all cost. like this situation in Syria now. We should pray for peace with this. Every effort for diplomacy to be made. You know, there's got to be glory and praise for war heroes, but they'd probably be the first to agree that it's got to be avoided every possible way, and that includes maybe thinking about this issue of the defense system. I don't even know if they can, backtrack on it. I wish they could. Uh, the idea of turn it into an agro power and things like that. Yeah, that might be a lot of that might be a kind of unrealistic on my part, but I think it'd be excellent. I mean, I think all right. Well, these are some controversial topics. Blog on them yourself. Send me one. Give me a note. But if you're in particular, if you're Polish and Polish American, just start talking about this stuff. Don't just watch Fox and CNN and sit there and expect that the the Polish, the Patriot missile defense system is excellent, and having the U.S. and NATO involvement in Poland is great. I mean, this is in the interest of freedom of speech and sovereignty issues, cultural issues, and politics and First Amendment rights. These things got to be talked about. All right, hit me up. I'd love to hear from anybody, Polish or otherwise, and detractors. Sure, give me some criticism on here. Try to give me something though, other than you're crazy and the Patriot defense system is excellent and this is unpatriotic and so forth. Just take a look also at the F-35 fighter. I got a funny YouTube on here with the F-35. It's really expensive. There's a lot of questions about it. A lot of questions about the effectiveness of that aircraft. Yeah, sorry to ramble on, but I want to hear from you, all right? Give me a shout. Take care.